So you just gonna leave it? I don't have to guard it? You just have to make sure nobody, you just need to stand in front of it. All right. So he knows all those
I would like to have Darlene and Susan Ryerson and Melissa and Larry come forward. So, because we're going to start in just 1 minute, and I'm going to give.
That was my idea. That was not.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Most of you know that I'm Stephanie Mensch. I'm Paul Berger's wife and his co-author on How to Conquer the World. We are live streaming today on YouTube and also on Facebook Live. So we'll be able to record this and post it for people who weren't able to join us today. We are so happy to share this 20th anniversary celebration with everyone. It is still read by stroke survivors, their families, and professionals. There are many books that tell the story of the shock of having a stroke and how it changes your life and how you go on after a year or so. Paul wrote his book because there's still no other book then and now that shows 20 years, 15 years of how you can live a full life, finding jobs and losing jobs, a new career, travel, getting lost in a coal mine in Wales, sharing hobbies, family issues, and much, much more. We launched the book in March 1999. First, we asked Barnes & Noble if they would host a local author, and they said not enough people care about stroke. So we went to a pizza place near where we lived in Falls Church, Generous George's Positive Pizza. And that's why we're having pizza today. Today, we celebrate Paul's adventures in the past 20 years since publishing his book, and he'll tell you more about that himself. First, we want to thank some of the people who've been so helpful and supportive over these years. Our family, first, have been so supportive, and we thank them. Paul's brother and niece are celebrating with us in spirit in Hawaii. But my side is here. Lots of cousins, my mom, my sister Stacy, and her kids, Ari, Shelby, Kobe, and Daniel and her husband David are coming soon. And I see lots and lots of my cousins here, so that's great. And I wanted to give a shout out to Marida. I don't know where she went. Oh, she's back there. She designed the cover for our book. And you know, you can tell a book by its cover. And she just did such a wonderful job. If you need a designer, she doesn't retire for another year and a half. So I think that you should introduce yourself and say hi. So the next thing I want to do is tell you that if you want to buy a book today to have Paul sign it, 100% of the proceeds go to the Stroke Comeback Center for today. So now, please give a cheer to the Executive Director of the Stroke Comeback Center, Darlene Williamson. Thank you, Darlene. No, you just sit down.
He's too much of a gentleman to stay seated.
Oh,
Yeah, he lost his headset. Okay, let's switch places, Steph, and I'll grab the phone. Oh, good, okay. Hello, everyone, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good, okay. Thank you so much. What a great day to celebrate stroke and aphasia, and Paul and Steph specifically. So some of you may have heard me tell this story before, but it's worth retelling. So I need to start by saying, when I had a dream and a vision that we should open something, a home, a center, an office, something that would take care of stroke survivors over the long haul, the first person I called was Paul Berger. Because I knew Paul for a long, long time, even before there was a center. And yes, I remember Jenner's Georgia's Positive Pizza from 20 years ago. So I called Paul and we met at the Celebrity Deli in Falls Church. And I said, Paul, I have an idea. I really want to get something going for people with aphasia. And in typical Paul fashion, yes, let's do it. Let's go. Not only that, but how can I help? And so he started helping even before there was a center. And since 2005, he and Steph have been such a great help in so many ways. So Stephanie asked me to say a few things. And what do you say about a guy whose smile is so infectious that you just can't help but smile back, right? What do you say about a guy who is so engaged in life, who lives life to the fullest, who has so many interests and so many hobbies that it's just admirable, stroke or no stroke? What do you say about a guy with a tenacity to go testify before Congress about the space program, to walk into a room full of people, even though he has aphasia, and come away with 5, 10, 15 new friends? Part of it has to do with that infectious smile. What do you say about a guy who is not afraid to disagree with you vociferously when he doesn't see things the way you see them? I'm sure you've never experienced that. I've actually witnessed it. And what do you say about a guy who has this never give up positive attitude? And that, of course, is reflected in his book. What I want to say is, thank you, Paul. Thank you for smiling and saying, okay, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Thank you for engaging and being able to say sorry and oh well when things don't go the way we wanted them to go. Thank you for always being the first person to send me an email after an event and say, I thought good. And that's so meaningful after we've put so much work into something. Thank you for being 100% engaged with your peers, the community, with the Stroke Comeback Center, the first and long-standing leader of our advisory council. Thank you for being tenacious in your rehab goals. And not only in helping yourself, but in helping others to do what you do. And encouraging them with your positive attitude and bringing them along because of your tenacity. You will never let somebody just settle. They've got to keep going. And thank you for that determination to help me and help the Stroke Comeback Center. And really, thank you for disagreeing with me on many occasions, because guess what? I'm not always right. And your voice helped me make the right decisions, because you're not afraid to say, no, I don't think so. It made the center a better place. Thank you for never giving up. You've been a role model locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. Wow. I'm just, it really, if you don't already know that, you should. So in one phrase, thank you for being you. Now, we know that, yeah, let's clap. We know that stroke happens to the whole family. It's one of our commitments at the Stroke Comeback Center to take care of the whole family. So behind every successful man is a successful woman making that man successful. So thanks, Stephanie, for being there every step of the way and encouraging Paul and making sure that congratulations go to both of you. This is just such a nice event. And Stephanie is going to remind me if I forget to say, we have an event coming up on March 28th to celebrate stroke called The Benefit of Chocolate. If you like chocolate, and who doesn't, and if you're able to drink wine and enjoy some wine, please join us. There are invitations on that credenza over there. They're brown, and we'd love to have you come. So there's and what? Yeah, exactly. So thank you all for being here, and Paul and Steph, oh my gosh, thank you for being my friend.
I did want to do a shout out. Yeah, I'll get to it. I wanted to say that my nephew, Kobe, designed these mugs for us. And thank you, Kobe, wherever you are.
I'm here.
Next, I'd like to just call up Melissa Richmond. Melissa's the program director for the Stroke Comeback Center, and she's the Rockville Center's day-to-day person. Thank you for all you do, Melissa. And Paul has a gift for you.
Oh, thank you. We'll drink coffee out of it together. All right. First, thanks for everyone who's here. This March actually will be our 1-year anniversary, and I cannot think of a better way to celebrate and have a big fat party than for Paul and Steph. So thanks. I do not plan on taking my allotted time. What I'm going to say is there's a sign that hangs on the wall. And I actually have one that's in my house. And what I love about it is it says today. Look, I took a picture so I would be able to see it, and now I can't read it. It says, today is a brand new day. Aspire for more. Take chances. Be amazing. Pursue your passions. Believe, have fun, and be brave. These are all things that I think Paul and Steph, they make that sign come to life. It's everything I look at that I read in the morning to remind myself what I want to do. I have 2 living beings in my life that I'm so grateful for, who mentor me and show me how to do it. It says that you should never give up, that you should make a difference, and you should work hard. It says you should embrace kindness, you should live your dream. You should love well and stay strong. And you should have a great hat that like cinches up under your So I cannot tell you
Remember his hat?
how.
You know his hat?
Oh, just look in the pictures. There's this hat is in every picture. And eventually it'll show up, I swear. So I just want to say these are two of my favorite people. I have never met another human who is as persistent as Paul. I don't know if you've ever tried to tell him no, but it's really not possible. It's not. So just give up. Save yourself time. Just do what you just do what he's telling you to do. And Steph, who when I'm spinning like a top a year ago trying to get the doors open, she's like, relax. You know, it's going to be a year first. There's going to be things that are screwed up. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. I'm going to believe you and I'm going to have fun. And it's been a great year. Thanks to these two people. Congratulations on your awesome journey, for showing us how to do it and how to live well with aphasia. You guys are the best. And I promise to be better selling the books. I think I have to figure it out.
And Melissa was very kind to calm me down when I said, we have 90 people coming. Where do we put all those people? So Paul has been very fortunate to have an expert in neuromuscular issues as his physical therapist for over 30 years, Susan Ryerson. Susan actually suggested that Paul enter his book for the National Council on Communicative Disorders Award at the Kennedy Center, which he won in 1999. Thank you for all you do, Susan, and every day, every year. There she is.
Wow.
And here's your gift.
Oh. The attitude. Well, I too am really pleased to be here to celebrate the amazing journey that Paul and Stephanie have shared with us since they wrote the book. So we're here to reflect on how Paul has continued to conquer the world with one hand and an attitude. And I think the emphasis is on attitude. The book's reflection described what they experienced and learned in the early years of Paul's rehab. The book also allowed professionals, physical therapists like me, occupational therapists, and speech therapists to reflect on lessons that they might take away from Paul and Stephanie's journey. And by writing the book, they provided other stroke survivors with lessons that might guide their journey. I reread the book for today and was struck by the numerous times that the following phrases were used. Now what? Why? Why not? Try. As a young stroke survivor, Paul's goal was to have a fulfilling, energetic, happy, long life. As an aging, older stroke survivor, Paul realizes that aging changes everything. His goals are the same as all of us who are aging: to age gracefully, to stay active and healthy, to find things that are important to us. But Paul has an additional task. He has a body with a structure that's compromised, which makes aging even more challenging. So what have I learned from Paul over the 20 years since the book was written? One thing's for sure, he still uses the same phrases. So I've learned from Paul in these 20 years since the book was written to expect the unexpected. So back pain is a common aging issue. Paul experienced back pain, but it came with unexpected consequences. His back pain was hard to manage and became so severe that he had additional weakness in his right leg. Not the same kind of weakness that came from the stroke, but came from the back pain, from the spine. It was enough to push him over the tipping point and became unable to walk even with the brace that he had. Paul looks at me and says, now what? Second thing I learned from Paul was to think outside the box. So can we create a new brace that combines existing elements and concepts, but in a new way? So the phrase, "now what?" made me think hard, think outside that box to get Paul walking again. Why not? Paul says, why not? I had a few ideas, but my ideas alone were not enough. I'm not a brace maker. So the third thing I've learned from Paul is to advocate, educate, and convince other medical professionals. So those of us who've worked with people post-stroke for a long time, over 20 years, we know our clients well. We know their mental, physical, and emotional makeup, their needs. And you learn to care about them. It means that it is our responsibility to share our specialized knowledge about the long-term consequences of living post-stroke with other professionals. In Paul's case, it meant talking to leading experts, brace makers in the area and even in the region, and then going with Paul and Stephanie to their appointment to educate, advocate, and ensure that the product that was going to be built would meet my expectations and their expectations, and to negotiate and convince the other medical professionals that if our first idea didn't work, we would continue to work together until we found a solution. It was really important to take care of Paul. And it might mean taking a chance. For often there are no guidelines, no protocols, no research findings, no book chapters that give us the solution to the problems that the long-term stroke survivor faces. So Paul also taught me to increase my detective skills, to work harder, to pay more attention, and to listen to him. Aging comes with bumps and bruises. Paul's stroke left him with the inability to describe and locate discomfort. So his sensation to touch or pressure and pain is limited because his body doesn't tell him exactly where it is or what it is. That means when Paul comes for a visit and I ask him what's on his agenda, which is always a dangerous thing to do, he pulls out his little pad and he may say something like pain. Okay, pain, here, something, I don't know, pain. I may try to find the area and say here. Paul's response is always, I don't know, not sure, maybe. Again and again, my job is to be the detective. Something is wrong and we don't know where and we probably don't know why. So my thinking cap goes on and we slowly and deliberately go through each possibility until we have a theory. And we test the theory and cross our fingers. In these 20 years, Paul has also taught me to remember that fitness is really important. Staying active is so important to the aging process. And fitness includes flexibility, endurance, and strength. We all may stumble and trip, so Paul and I make sure he can get up from the floor. He knows to walk not just short distances, but to push himself a little bit, to walk longer and faster, to push his cardiovascular system, and to keep his diminished strength as strong as possible. To end, I'd like to thank Paul, I think as Darlene did, for making me a better therapist. This is my 50th year of practice, and it's people like Paul who have influenced me the most and made me the therapist I am. How has he made me better? Well, it happens when he looks you right in the eye and says, what's next? Why not? Try. When someone looks you in the eye and others have said there is no other option, there is no written path to follow, then it's up to you to reach beyond what is known, to think outside the box, to be creative, and to try something new. And as Paul would say, why not? Thank you.
So a lot of you know that Paul is a people person. He enjoys meeting new people and making friends, and he doesn't let his problems with speech or aphasia or walking get in his way. In Virginia, he joined the Rotary Club of Vienna. One of Paul's many friends there has served as the club's president and in its leadership for many years, and that's Larry Warren. And where's Larry? Larry,
All right.
please come forward. We have a gift for you. Thank you for all you do. Sorry, Larry.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Sal. Okay. You ready to have some nice things said about you? Paul, thank you. Some weeks ago, Paul asked me if I would say a few words about his Rotary career in Vienna, and of course I agreed to do it. As it turns out today here, I think I counted there are a dozen members of the Rotary Club of Vienna, including spouses of members here in this room. So now I'm a bit nervous because I really have to get this right, or I'm going to hear from a lot of people. But in any case, if you are associated with the Rotary Club of Vienna, just raise your hand so people get an idea of who you are. There's some here, there, great, and over there. In any case, let me just tell you before we get to any further, I just think it's worth saying that the presence of these people really say a lot about the way we at the Rotary Club of Vienna feel about Paul and the respect and affection that we have for Paul. Quickly, a bit about the club. We're obviously based in Vienna, Virginia. We've been in existence for 54 years. We currently have about 65 members. Our club is very active. Our Rotary motto is service above self, and we like to think that the Rotary Club of Vienna works hard to live up to that motto, to that standard. Paul's been a very active member of the Rotary Club of Vienna for 12 years. And he joined us after being in a Rotary Club in Alexandria for a number of years, and I'm not quite sure, but we're looking at probably 15 years of Rotarian at least. Yeah, 15 years of Rotarian. Our club meets every week and on Wednesdays, and Paul is very faithful in his attendance. In fact, Paul, as far as I know, elected himself our official greeter. So the first person, when you come to the Rotary Club of Vienna, the first person that you see standing in the entrance to our meeting venue is Paul. They're ready to shake your hand and make you feel welcome with that winning smile of his. Our annual fundraiser for our club is the Viva Vienna Town Festival, which is a street fair that's held in Vienna every Memorial Day weekend for 3 days, with rides and shows and craft fairs and so on. We raise about $150,000 to $200,000 a year from this event, and all of it is given back the following year to local charities. It's a lot of work to put on Viva Vienna, and Paul is always a part of that. Paul mans our information booth, handing out information to folks visiting the festival that need help finding all kinds of services and performances and events that occur as a part of the festival. And Paul is there front and center. I think the folks from the Stroke Comeback Center already know, but for the rest of you, Paul has really taken a leadership position in forging a relationship between our club and the Stroke Comeback Center. He keeps us apprised of what's going on at the center, And he makes sure that the Stroke Comeback Center is always a recipient of our annual giving program. I guess it's safe to say, and you probably gathered, that Paul has earned the respect and admiration of his fellow Rotarians. We see that it takes a lot of courage, despite the result of the residual effects of Paul's stroke, to put himself out front in terms of greeting members and visitors to our meeting. And we see himself challenging himself to be the face of our club at Viva Vienna, assisting visitors to the festival. Paul, I think I can safely say, is a great inspiration to all our members. And because we see him living out Rotary's core ideal of service above self. Paul, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to end with this. So Darlene sort of stole my thunder a little bit because she spent some time talking about Paul's smile. And one of the most wonderful things about Paul is that warm and beautiful smile. When his face lights up, people are naturally drawn to him. And that is why he's such a natural at greeting members and visitors to our meeting. Based on my personal experience, I would recommend to you and Stephanie that the next edition of the book be retitled to How to Conquer the World with One Hand, an Attitude, and a Big, Beautiful Smile.
So I do want to give credit for Paul's smile to his dentist, our brother David Schlachtis, who's back there. So if you want your smile to look just as nice, just talk to David. He's a few blocks down. So now it's Paul's turn to tell you about what he's been doing in the last 20 years, and I'm going to turn off my mic and make sure his is on.
Okay. Okay now? Good?
Yeah, very good.
I am Paul Berger. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Thank you every week. One. I had a stroke 33 years ago from a broken aneurysm in the brain. I was 36. I was in hospital for 3 months. I came home in a wheelchair. My right side was paralyzed and still. I lost my speech. I returned to work, but lost my job. 20 years ago, I published my book, How to Conquer the World with One Hand, an Attitude. I am here today to tell you about my adventure, my up and down. How people with stroke and aphasia can have a full life. Yes. I am proof that you can do it too. After my book, I travel to many cities in the US and make presentations, over 55, to stroke survivor, caregiver, professionals, and students. My speech continue to improve. excuse me. I worked as a computers drafting for 5 years. Now I worked part-time publishing book and newsletters and my website. I travel for fun to English, France, Canada, New Zealand, Australia 2 times, and Singapore. Tran is hard, but I'm slow. Oh well. I needed a wheelchair in the airport. I needed a hotel with a special bathroom. After my book, I volunteer. I support the Stroke Comeback Center when Darlene and Janet and John start in Oakton 15 years ago. The center is very important for me to make friends and be part of the groups. We worked on the Stroke Comeback Center Concerns Board, and we chair the 10th anniversary party in 2014. I volunteer for Rotary. I go to the Rotary Club in Vienna for 12 years for lunch every week. I am the greeter. Hi, hi, hi.
Let's do it.
I worked in the Rotary booth for the Vienna Town for 3 days in May. Rotary gave money to many charities. Over the years, I have problems with my back and my right leg. 10 years ago, I hurt my back very bad, but I fell. My doctors say my disc was swollen, pushed on the nerve in my right leg. I pills, but the pills makes my right leg more paralyzed. Then I have 3 shots in my leg. It's gonna my back and it work. Yes. But my walking was bad. I needed 6 months for physical therapist to walk again. In the past 10 years, I have changed from a small brace from my feet to the long brace from the top of my leg into my shoes to my hips and knees. I'm using a cane to walk outside. Walking is very important. Yes. I walk 30 minutes in my mall 5 times a work. Walking makes my brain fresh and gave me a good attitude. For everyone, living a full life means change over the years. 2 years ago, we moved from Falls Church to Bethesda. From a house to an apartment. We made the new kitchen and bathroom easy for my disability. I find new store, movies, and the space sports more. Aphasia. To watch baseball. Lucky. I find new classes in my interest at Oasis and the men club at the JCC for new friends. And the Stroke Comeback Center open in Rockville. 20 years ago, minutes from my new apartments. Now to the future, to living a full life for the next 20 years. Anyone say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it.
It's cupcake time. So I might need some here to
Walk 30 minutes in the morning. I learned a bunch of
Good to see you. How are you?
You want to turn that off? Yeah. End stream. Okay. And then better push end there. Oh, oops. Hopefully it'll know you meant it. I just don't know it. Yeah.